I think don't over design it because the child needs to be involved with the room. So keep space for pegboards or keep space where they can actually move their study table around if they feel, okay, I don't want to learn to say, let me move it on this wall. Studying to be a finance professional but known as a key voice in the design field today, she's someone who got married at 22, had her first child at 24, moved to India, and of course what's very interesting is that she actually got onto the design journey because she couldn't find the perfect nursery for her children. So she went on building a store, then helped many other parents build out their perfect and dream nurseries.
Thank you, Mansi, for that fantastic introduction. Thank you for having me.
Tell me on the design part of it, right? How can we have somebody who's worked in the interior space for the last 7 years and not ask her, what do you see Indian parents do right and wrong when it comes to building out their nurseries?
I think sometimes Indian parents want to overdo their nursery when it should not be. I think it needs to be very clutter-free and clean because kids come with their own paraphernalia. And I think a lot of times it's done for the other person who will be entering the room and not for the child. So you'll have all these beautiful things and the library would be stacked, from floor to ceiling, but the child can't reach that library. So I would say actually have it, linear down where the child can reach the books against the entire wall instead of going floor to ceiling. So it's done sometimes not keeping the child in mind.
Right. So tell me, what would be your do's and don'ts from like a 0 to 2 or 2 to 5 and then of course upwards?
I think 0 to 16 is definitely don't clutter the space because kids are constantly outgrowing things and getting new things. So the less decor items you have, the less furniture you have, the better it is. Always use multifunctional pieces. So if you have a limitation in space, then you have a study table that turns into a dressing table or a stool that also has storage in it. So multifunctional spaces or pieces is very important. Third, keep it very well lit. You don't need mood lighting in a child's room. It needs to have a lot of bright light. It needs to feel fresh, clean, airy. Use light colors. I wouldn't recommend the deep blues that a lot of people use if they're going to have a boy. Keep it light, keep it fresh. And I think don't over design it because the child needs to be involved with the room. So keep space for pegboards or keep space where they can actually move their study table around if they feel, okay, I don't want to learn to say, let me move it on this wall. So give the child that freedom.
Right.
Is what I would say.
Interesting. And any must-haves, absolute must-haves while you're setting up or or you may want to say, or the mistakes that people make, whatever.
While doing up their...
Like again, if you break it down from a, like first nursery and then to a child's room, it'll just help instead of doing a 0 to 16.
So I think a lot of times when people are just about to have a child, they have a cot, which is great. But traditionally, we had just mattresses on the floor.
Yeah.
Which I think is also great because now you're not wasting furniture. Sometimes that cot becomes redundant after a while. And yes, you can donate it to someone. But if you have a mattress that is on the floor, there's no fear of the child falling, child's not moving anywhere, you can sleep next to the child, the didi can be next to the child. I think that just simplify it from 0 to 2. That would really ease it. 2 to 6, keep everything that cannot be broken in the room because that is when a child is experimenting.
Yeah.
Keep things very movable. So you have those storage baskets with wheels and things. So that's what I like to use. And as a child grows older, then they need much bigger storage spaces because the size of things they use is larger. So even their cricket bats are no longer the small plastic bats. They're those solid big ones. So your storage spaces need to be larger in size instead of small little cubby holes.
Interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
For parenting tips, celebrity interviews, recipes, conversations with experts, DIYs, and lots more. Subscribe to Kids Talk Press now.